Hello, it's Jo here from Psyllium Health Retreat with another delicious recipe for you today. And we're going to be making the life-changing loaf. And you might be thinking, wow, life-changing. What's life-changing about this loaf? Well, I'll share with you a little bit later how it got its name. But first of all, let's go into making this loaf. What I've got here is I've already ground up the millet. Now, this loaf is gluten-free. So all of the ingredients that we have here are gluten-free ingredients. You don't have to make it that way. If you can tolerate gluten, you could make it with spelt flour or wholemeal flour. Just make sure that it is a whole grain that you're using, because we want to make sure that we're getting the goodness and all of the nutrients from the whole food. When we use white flour and refined grains, all of those nutrients are stripped away. So as long as it's a whole grain, that's fine. So I've gone ahead and I've already processed the millet, which I buy in big packets like this from Honest to Goodness. So if you're watching from Australia, you can go online to Honest to Goodness and get your millet, or you can get it from supermarkets, health food shops, and just make sure that it's hulled, because if it still has the outer layering on it, you're going to get a lot of grittiness. So we want to make sure that it's whole millet as opposed to unhulled. And yeah, you just want to put that in your food processor, your blender, your Thermomix, just to ground it up into a flour, which we've done here. And that's 1 cup of millet flour has gone into our bowl. Next thing we want to do is we're going to add some delicious seeds and nuts. We've got 1/2 cup of almonds, 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds, and 1/2 cup of pepitas that you can leave whole and put straight into the mixing bowl. I like them ground up a little bit, not so much that it turns into a meal, but so that there's still some chunks there. It just helps the digestion if we ground that up a little bit. So into the Thermomix that goes on a few seconds. And then I'll show you what that looks like, nicely ground up. Now, you can use any nut. It doesn't have to be almonds. You could use cashews. You could use pecans, walnuts, macadamias, whatever you have to hand. But today we're using almonds. So you can see in there what that looks like. It's pretty ground up, but not so much that it's turned into a meal. All right, so we're going to pop that in there. And next we're going to add our chia seeds. We've got 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. Now, chia seeds, as we know, are fantastic for our brain, containing lots of omega-3s. So any way you can get chia seeds into your diet through, whether it be chia pudding or just sprinkled over your breakfast in the morning, but a fantastic seed to include in your diet. Next, we have psyllium husks. Now, this psyllium will help bind the loaf. We've got 4 tablespoons of psyllium. And then we've got some ground linseed. So I would definitely recommend that you don't buy linseed meal, that you buy the linseeds whole and then you ground them up as you need them. If you are to buy them as ground up, you don't know how long they've been sitting on the shelf for, and they can be rancid. The oil goes off very quickly. So it's best to buy it whole, ground it up in a coffee grinder, and then use it in your ingredients. You could store it in the freezer, ground up. That will last for a few weeks. But yeah, I like to just ground mine up whole, fresh on the day. So that is 1/4 cup of linseed. And then we want to add some salt, some Celtic salt. That's going to make it very delicious, just enhance all of those flavours. Now, how easy is this recipe? All we're going to do now is just mix all this up, and it's just so full of goodness. Now, you don't have to use millet flour if you want to still retain it as a gluten-free flour. You can use buckwheat as a flour. You could use brown rice flour. You could also use sorghum flours, or a combination, as long as it measures to 1 cup of any gluten-free flour of your choice. All right, so that's our our dry mix, then we're just simply going to add 1.5 cups of warm water. So there's no yeast, there's no kneading with this recipe. It's very simple, very easy, and I can guarantee you that your family will love it. And it's a fantastic way of getting all of those seeds and nuts and whole grains into our diet. And I like to, once this is baked in the oven, I like to chop it up, slice it up, put it in the freezer, and then I can pull it out as I need it and just simply toast it. So yeah, it's very, very simple and very easy. Now, sometimes I'll let this sit for a while just so that the psyllium and linseed can absorb all of that water. But for the interest of time today, I'm just going to form it into a loaf. And then we're going to pop it in our pan. And that goes into the oven at 180 degrees. And you're going to bake it for 80 minutes. 80 minutes. Okay, so let's see how this is going to form into a loaf for us quite nicely, I think. Now, because this has simply salt in it, you can have it as a savoury or a sweet in terms of the toppings that you want to put on it. Either way, it goes beautifully with some homemade jam. I'm going to show you in a moment how I like to have it, how I've been having it lately these days for breakfast, just sliced up. So as you can see, that forms quite nicely into a loaf. I like to use the baking paper just so it doesn't stick. There we go. And once we've got all that formed, we're just going to pop it in our loaf tin like so, and we're just going to get rid of that for a moment. And now I'm going to show you the finished product. So here we have our life-changing bread. Now, I did tell you that I would explain how it got its name. So at Psyllium Health Retreat, we run a program called the Maker Heals. And this program is an opportunity for people to just come aside from the busyness of life, to disconnect from technology, from work, from everything that may cause anxiety or stress, and just to connect with their Maker, who is God. And it's a very, very successful, very popular program that has helped many, many people all around the world recover their health, their physical health, their mental health, and most importantly, their spiritual health. And one lady who attended a program, a Maker Heals program, had this bread, and she loved it so much that she called it the life-changing bread. And the reason for that was that she found that the Maker Heals program for her had been life-changing. So she dubbed this loaf the life-changing loaf, and it's stuck. Ever since then, we've been calling it the life-changing loaf. And so I would encourage you that if you are looking for a place to de-stress, that you check out our website, psyllium.org.au. All right, so this is our life-changing bread. And what I have been having on it these days is I would spread some tahini on it. I will slice that up, put it in the freezer, and then toast it when I'm ready to eat it with some delicious tahini, which is sesame seeds ground up, great source of calcium, and a chopped banana on top. Just slice up some banana and pop that on top. And that's a very, very healthy, very delicious way to enjoy your life-changing bread.